I'm a 56-year-old rural gun-owning white guy, and if Kamala Harris thinks I'll vote for her, she's right. Made a quick video this morning before I went to work, but it wasn't good enough, so I got to try again. When I was in middle school, I was in a very small school, 14 people in my class, and we had this teacher, Mrs. Heimbaugh. She made us read things like Tale of Two Cities, The Diary of VanFrank, and then we discussed them in class. The Diary of VanFrank has stuck with me all these years. The parts that stuck with me is the image of this family living in somebody else's attic and having to be quiet as a mouse whenever the Gestapo came around looking for them, and how they eventually were rounded up anyway because somebody informed on them. That's what that exchange made me think about. At 33 minutes into the debate, David Muir said, "You called this the largest domestic deportation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard, and if things got out of control, you would have no problem using the military." Trump interrupted and said, "with local police." Muir continued, "You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? Take us through this. Would authorities be going door to door in this country?" Quietly and quickly, Trump said yeah. And then he proceeded into one of his usual rants about Biden and open borders and stuff. I think it's significant that Trump quickly and quietly said yeah and moved on, because I don't think he wanted us to think much about that exchange. See, in order for what he's talking about to happen, he has to have his own version of the Gestapo. Imagine what that looks like. Trump's Gestapo going door to door in America looking for immigrants. What makes an immigrant? How do these people know they're immigrants? That's the scary part. I mean, besides all the extra constitutional violations and all that stuff, he's going to be rounding up anybody that doesn't fit the description that he likes. That description, judging by Trump's history, being white. In fact, I would say the only people that would be safe from these roundups would be people who are white and wealthy. In particular, white wealthy men, and their wives and their children. If you don't fit in that category, you're not safe. Sounds a little dystopian, and if you're a Trump supporter and you're listening to this, you think I'm being stupid and blowing things out of proportion. Am I, though? It's not that far-fetched if you think about it. The only way, what happens if he rounds up all these immigrants? You're sitting there raising your beer and saying, hell yeah, when he says he's going to do that. But who's going to do all those jobs that the immigrants are doing? Who's going to pick the fruits and vegetables in the field and work the worst jobs at the dairy farm and the meat packing plant? Who's going to clean the hotel rooms and all those other jobs that we don't want to do? Somebody's got to do it. He's not going to be able to deport all those people because you can't just put them on a plane and fly them somewhere, because the country of destination is going to say, no, you can't land. Go back home. So that ain't going to work. He's going to put them all in camps. He said that. He calls them immigration camps. I call them concentration camps. And I suppose he could pull them out and make them do slave labor, again in violation of the Constitution, in order to get our food on the table and our hotel rooms cleaned. Or maybe he'll just take the rest of us that don't fit his wealthy category and make us do it. Somebody's got to get the food out of the field. And I could see him going to Bubba down south, or Bobby Joe up here in Eastern Plains, and saying, well, we're conscripting you to go and pick food in the fields. I could see that happening. And that's what's been distracting me all day. That and one other thing I'm going to have to make another video on here in a minute. Hope folks will think about that. I hope somebody in the media and the podcast and all that will start talking about the implications of having Trump's version of the Gestapo going door to door in America. There you have it. Good day.